Hello, everybody. We're waiting for attendees to arrive. I don't have any in yet. We're getting some. Maybe I should put my logo up while I wait.
Who's got the DJ tracks?
That's true. I should have found some really good some dance music to throw in as we wait for everybody to pop in. Hello, attendees. We see you popping in. We're just waiting and making sure we get some more people before we start up. And I think Chris Harris is fixing his hair.
Oh.
Yes, that's the hair that I expected to see.
There's nothing much to say.
Just about one more minute, everybody, while we see if that number of guests rise up for us a little bit. So students, I wonder, does this just feel like another class that you're attending right now, since everything is on Zoom? Or is it an event? It must just be another class because no one's participating. So,
well, I actually only have one remote class because all of my other classes are performance based. So this is just an event for me.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go ahead and start us off, everybody. Hopefully, we'll get some other people in here. Let me let you see who. Hello, everyone. I'm Steve Alexander, and I am the theater manager at Willamette University. I want to thank everybody for coming to our latest town hall. This was something that we were planning to do before we went remote, was to have times in which, in advance of shows, we could invite people into the theater for a rehearsal and talk about it. And it just so happened that it was, you know, it was video year. So so thanks everybody for popping in. Just before we begin, I want to show you a couple features about the webinars, which we're doing. The town hall is actually called a webinar. The first thing is in the upper right-hand corner, you see a little thing that says view. I would recommend that you put that on speaker view. That's going to allow you to see preeminently the person that talks. There are going to be a few times in which we share the screen, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to be able to see it in a full screen that way. And also, I'm going to direct your attention down below, down in this area there, you'll see a thing that says Q&A. That is the way that we can communicate with y'all. So if you pop up with a Q&A screen, you'll see that there are questions that you can ask. I'm going to ask if some of our guests, could you ask a question so that I could make sure that the Q&A is working for us? We'll wait for the sample question, see what happens. Feel free, it can be anything. Yes, Christine. Thank you, Christine. Yes, it is working. And I can type your answer here, but what I'm also going to do is you might see the question laying in the Q&A for a while, but I am intending to be able to answer all of the questions as they come forward. So welcome everybody. Our dance concert is going to be opening on the 30th of April. So we are right in the middle of our heaviest time. Tech Week is sort of tech month for the dance concert this year, because we're going to be doing it all online. And to begin with, I'd like to go ahead and introduce the people that are with us. Let's go ahead and start with the choreographers in any order. I won't say alphabetical. That'll be too confusing. So choreographers, let us know who you are. Or all
Cute.
Hi.
So why don't you tell us who you are, if you're a student, what year you are, if you've done any dance concerts in the past, and if you're a guest, let us know that too. Go ahead, Sam.
Okay, I didn't know if it was my turn or not.
Andy.
My name is Sam McLean. I'm a guest choreographer for Moving Forward Screen Dance. Very excited to be working with everyone. Originally from Salem, so I'm local.
And you're a guest. How do you have anything to do with Willamette?
Oh boy, I've been involved with Willamette since I was 16. I was a part of one of the fall dance concerts and then went away to college, got a degree in dance, did all that, came back, auditioned for the fall dance concert that happened not this last fall because COVID, but the year before that. And just on a whim, emailed Faith and said, is anything happening? And here we are.
Right on. How about Claire or Lee? Excuse me, Lee.
Sure, no problem. Hi, I'm Claire. I also go by Lee. I am a senior theater major and psychology minor, and I'm one of the student choreographers. I have been dancing in Willamette dance concerts since my freshman year, which is actually how I got my start doing dance in earnest. I had no formal training or significant experience prior to that, but enough people kept casting me in shows because they wanted me to be part of their groups. And from there, that prompted me to start taking classes with my choreographers, and now I'm here.
Where might we have seen you on our stage before?
You would likely have seen me in 2 productions over the course of the past 2 years, in Men on Boats playing Old Shady and as Andrew Grouch in The Memo.
Yeah, a little time on stage for The Memo, just a wee bit.
Yeah, just like 85%, not a lot.
Like a 5-page monologue at the end or something going on there.
2 whole pages, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of monologues, we have Shelby Fenn, who knows how to monologue, and is one of our choreographers.
Hi, I'm Shelby Fenn. I'm the other student choreographer. Thank you for the introduction, Stephen. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am a senior theater and women and gender studies major, but I transferred in my sophomore year, which was the first year that I did a dance concert, and I danced in Michelle Ainz's pieces, who is another choreographer for this dance concert. Yeah, it's my debut choreographing though for a main stage here at Willamette.
And most recently,
I was in A Bright New Boise. I played Leroy, the brooding punk. Yeah.
It scared me. It scared me a lot.
Thank you.
And then we have Faith Morrison. Faith Morrison is one of our faculty members and also the artistic director of Moving Forward Screen Dance. Have at it. Let us know who you are.
Hello, I'm Faith Morrison, Artistic Director for Moving Forward Screen Dance. I am choreographing 2 works in this show. I have a ballet work and a contemporary work. I'm also dance faculty in the theater department, so teach classes in our department as well.
Which classes are you teaching for us right now?
Right now I'm teaching the Intro to Dance Technique class.
Not able to attend with us tonight, our other choreographer is Michelle Ainsa. Michelle has been artistic director for a couple of the dance concerts that we've done in the past, and has featured herself on stage and has done several works for us. You will see her in absentia in just a moment for my little surprise that I have for you all. But since we're on Faith and we look at the title, it's called Moving Forward Screen Dance. So what I'd love you to let us know is, what is screen dance and what is moving forward?
So screen dance is a hybrid art form that's a merging of choreography and cinematography. And this art form is created with the intention of being viewed on a screen. And that element of it is really important because when we're creating choreography for a stage setting, we're thinking about different things than when we create work for a screen dance work, which is intended to be filmed and presented through a screen setting. When we're in a stage, we have a single front, usually, unless it's a circular audience in the round, but generally we have a single front when we're choreographing for the camera, we can have this three-dimensional moving front throughout the work. We're also thinking the possibilities are open for locations. We can dance anywhere within our capacity and film in these locations. So we have this open-ended setting and site that we can use to help shape the intention of the work. And really a screen dance work, you develop an intention in the beginning that then you try to convey through the filming of the work, the editing of the work, the choreography, through the site, through the costumes, through the lighting. So all the elements are working around this intention to create this hybrid art form. So that is screen dance. Your other question was about moving forward.
Yeah, and just before I ask that about screen dance, I mean, we're in a time in which everything is on Zoom. Has screen dance come because of Zoom, or did it come earlier? And where did it come from?
Yeah, so screen dance has been around for a while, but this year it's exploded through the COVID-19 pandemic. And part of that is because we haven't had the ability to perform dance in stage settings safely. And so screen dance provided this opportunity to share art with people in a safe way. And we were thinking about that here at Willamette University. How can we create art in a safe way, and how can we present it to audiences in a safe way as well throughout this pandemic time? Right now we have distance protocols for all of our dancers. And this is in the rehearsal studio, but this is also at any site we went to. So unless a dancer is filming in their personal space, which we actually have quite a lot of videos and clips within this show of dancers in their personal spaces. But any time that we were outside of a personal space, we were maintaining distance and following these COVID-19 protocols. But the beauty of film and the camera is that we can zoom in on dancers and have this more intimate experience with them than we'd actually be able to safely in person. So this is something that was to our advantage with this art form. And it's also a way for us as creators to shape the audience's experience of the work. So we have more control when we're filming and framing everything over the viewer's eye. In a theater space, audiences have the ability to choose what part of a dance they're watching or what details they're focusing on. And in screen dance, we're shaping that experience at a more heightened level. So we have that ability to shape the view and the experience of the work, and also heighten the kinesthetic empathy with the dancers as well. So really feeling their experience, moving with them through screen dance.
Right on. Now I know for the title, Moving Forward, I know that part of the reason that it came about was because at one point I said, hey, Faith, we need a title. And you can say whatever it is, but then you actually came up with a really, really cool title. So why Moving Forward?
You know what's so funny though? I created that right before we went into the pandemic. So that title, I don't know if you remember this, Stephen, I sent it to you about a week before our shutdown happened at Willamette. It was just right before
I might have missed that
time.
Sorry
and
about
then
that.
I felt that, you know what, it fits perfectly. It fits even better with this new time that we're, using movement and collective experience to move forward with our lives, move in a new direction, and really just keep going. What keeps us going? And for me, and I know a lot of other people in the show, creating art and collaborating keeps us going and keeps us engaged with life. So in the end, the title worked better than I had initially imagined. I think I initially said something about dancers making contact in the original
Yes.
description, which that couldn't happen anymore.
Right.
And that's actually been a huge shift. We're used to a lot of partnering work in dance pieces. For me personally, I almost always have partnering work as a huge element of my dances, and the relationship between humans as something that really speaks to the theme and intention in the work. And of course, this year, unless dancers were in their personal spaces, we had to be distanced. And so we can do partnering at a distance, but we just couldn't do any contact partnering.
I remember when COVID came down, you were teaching a ballroom class of all
A
things.
dance partnering, yeah.
Dance partnering, exactly.
Yeah, I think that the students in dance partnering were a little disappointed that the second half of spring 20 semester included no physical touch partnering. Instead, it was all partnering through the digital space, but it did really change that class.
I'm gonna share my screen for a moment because I'm really proud of this thing that I did, and it will show off. I don't even know if all of the dancers have seen this or not. You can find this on the Woo Theater, YouTube site, and also our Facebook page. But I'm gonna share the Coolio trailer that we made from you. Is there any dancers that have not seen this yet? I wonder. Everyone's always quiet when I ask a question. Well, I'll show it to you here anyway. Oh, come now, let's go to the beginning. Yeah, you see me ruining all my stuff here. Okay, the Zoom bar was in the way as usual. Here we go. So yeah, you see it's a little bit different than the dance concerts that we've worked with in the past. Thank you, Spike. I heard that very loud and clear. A little bit different. We have Simon Weisbard with us, who we've hired in as well. What is your title on this, Solomon?
I'm the director of photography, which in this context means mostly mentoring the students in the making of their films.
Yet you started out as lighting designer when we hired you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was in the old version of Moving Forward.
Mm-hmm. So what's it like going from lighting designer into this? I mean, have you worked with this kind of presentation before?
I have never worked in dance film before. I do have some experience working in film and different kinds of production, but this was really my version of moving forward, of changing, pivoting, changing my skills, learning new things. And it was so delightful to be in this context and to be able to work with the students and the faculty and staff to make all that happen. Yeah.
Do you have a background in film?
Not particularly. I'm mostly in theater, but I have produced some films and done some DP work in the past. So it wasn't a completely new thing, but it's been a good opportunity to expand those skills.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's one thing I really hope for all the students that are here with us. I mean, many of you are, acting and choreographing, or you have done box office and you're doing costume design suddenly, or you're in 2 shows simultaneously, Spike Iverson, that are opening one day apart. I hope you keep saying yes when you get out of college. They always tell you to know your boundaries, but I'm going to tell you, if you keep saying yes, then you accidentally become a music director or a film editor or a director of photography. It just happens that way. So say no to everything except a new gig in theater. That's all I'm saying.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Even if you've
I'm
never
writing
done it.
this down.
Yeah, right on. Even if you've never done it before, the theater people always wait for you to catch up, and dance people, they always do.
Mhm.
Anything else you wanted to share about working in this new world, Solomon?
Yeah, I mean, I think the process of the art making is comes from a similar place, kind of no matter what the medium, and that's been our touchstone. As Faith and I have been working together, and as I've been working with the students, the skills that have really come into play are the experience of watching a piece of time-based art, experiencing what pacing is, what intensity is, what the framing is, whether that's the frame of the screen or whether that's the frame of the stage, when the cuts happen, when things need to fade. There's a lot of, I guess the message is that having a sensitivity to aesthetic experience translates to whatever the medium is. And, you know, with the right attitude, you can kind of step into whatever is needed.
So you didn't find that you had to stop your storytelling because you were changing into a new medium?
Exactly. In
So-
fact, for me, it engaged a newer part of my brain that now I've kind of mashed into the other one, and it feels like you know, I guess that's what they call growth.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah, heard about that.
Uh-huh. I don't want to stop that. If I stop growing, I just have to leave theater. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
Somebody has a question, and I think it's going to pop us into. Simon, you do have that great background thing. I might have that play while Faith is talking about her piece, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah. That sounds
Christine has a question. It's going to kind of lead into Chris Harris, who was at one of our recent movie shoots. Christine's asking, how has the experience of performing dance for the camera felt different for choreographers and performers compared to dancing in front of a live audience? Is it more freeing, more disconnected, etc.? We'll be having choreographers talk a little bit about that. But Chris, I know you were at a recent film shoot, and you don't do film shoots a lot. Did you find anything about how you tell a story different, or how does it feel different?
Well, I mean, I think from my standpoint, it was as quote art director, and that is, what is it you need, right? We need tables, we need bankers' lights. I need plants, right? Solomon said I need plants, and in some respects, what my job was to do whatever is necessary to allow the director or photographer to get the frame, right? And I think it was Faith was talking about how to shape the view. So, I mean, I've got a photograph here I was going to share with you.
Yeah, right on.
Which is about how to how to shape the view, right? Can you see that there? Which is, there's Solomon, right? There's the dancer, and there is a student shaping the view so that, in fact, the view through the camera is emerging behind these sort of flowers. We don't see Andrew, we don't see the pot. You just see the camera beginning to move into the dancers. So there's Andrew Keswick with a pot of flowers shaping the view.
But when you see the video, I mean, does it give the illusion that there's a whole floral row in front of the dancer at that point?
That's the idea. You just
that's such light.
You emerge
cool
from the
lights.
flowers. So,
well, you know, theater is lying, and lying is fun. So
always.
Illusionists.
Illusionists. That's yes.
Deceivers of the eye. Yes.
Yeah. And even more so illusions with movie, because as Faith said, we're guiding exactly where the, you know, when you have a dance piece and you really love this 1 foot thing that one dancer does, you'd love everybody to see it, but there's 4 other people on stage at that time. And in this medium, you can make sure they see that really awesome foot thing.
Right. Well, I think you also end up, I mean, that's where the lighting comes in theater. Ostensibly, the lighting is telling you where to look. We're guiding the eye as much as we can, but we don't have the control that the camera has, saying you look at this only, right? Hopefully, if we're doing something sophisticated with lighting, the lights will lead your eyes to where you need to see, and not see the villain coming in through us on the side of the stage until we want you to see him. That's what we play. We play with the lights to guide the view. But
it's interesting to think about. That lighting is sort of the stage lighting is sort of one step toward the control that you get with camera.
What we don't show you is where we're doing our tricks until we need it, right? So.
I'm going to move toward our choreographers now. I'm going to start with our student choreographer and senior, going to be graduating here soon, Shelby Fenn. Shelby, tell us a little bit about your piece. Let us know who your dancers were in that. Yeah, go ahead and start with that.
Yeah, my piece is to a song called Koliskova by a Ukrainian folk band called Daka Braka. And Koliskova actually translates into English from Ukrainian as lullaby. The band actually talks about the song when they speak about it. They just call it lullaby, like in English, as a sort of nickname, I guess, but also direct translation. And my housemates and I, at the beginning of the pandemic, turned to this song, like rather subconsciously. We would listen to this song on repeat as a form of comfort before we even knew what it meant, because over half the lyrics are in Ukrainian. There's only 3 couplets that are in English originally. And so the idea of the piece came from like trying to seek comfort in times of isolation and global pandemic. And so that's kind of what I'm going for with the movement of the piece, playing with hiding oneself from the world and seeking comfort that way, but also just trying to separate the world from oneself to protect the world. Different vacillations between wanting to be included with the world but not being able to because of keeping yourself and others safe. Yeah, I have 6 dancers. 2 are remote dancers, Riley Lang and Maggie Grogan, who graduated last year. They were both heavily involved in the dance community at Willamette and in other dance communities. And then I have 4 on-campus dancers, Faye Mearns, Anna Corner, Peyton Ives, and Lily O'Shea. And they're all very wonderful. And yeah.
Do you have any of your crew that are joining us right now that are online here? Well, there's one. Hi, Lila. What are you working with?
Yeah. I'm the director of photography for this piece, and it's been cool to work filming dance because I've filmed some other things before, but never worked with dance.
So what is, we say the words DP for director of photography. What the heck is that? Is that a director? Is that an editor? Is that a cameraman? What is that?
The roles that I have taken on in this project, I am doing most of the filming, all of the shot setup. I worked with Shelby to write the storyboard, and then we've been editing together. And it's been really great living together, because that means that we've been able to sit down at the same computer and really put our brains together, which has been very unique to our process.
Is Katie Payne, who is involved in that project, is Katie Payne also one of your housemates?
Yes.
Yeah.
And was Katie Payne part of the hatching of the idea as well?
Katie was abroad when the idea was coming together, but Katie has a lot of influence over the themes because of the costumes that she chose to use, with sort of the gray being the indoor outfit, and then the dancers transition into white. So the costumes were conveying the transition from being isolated to joining in community. So she did have a really great hand in sort of sculpting the physical life of the dancers. But yeah, she lives here too, so communication is made a little easier.
A little easier, yeah. Sam McLean, tell us a little bit about the piece that you're doing. McLean.
Hello. So the name of my piece is called Contrive, and the definition of that is it's a verb, and it's create or bring about by deliberate use of skill. Interesting name. It's funny, my old roommate helped me come up with that title, but this film, the goal of this piece was to evoke some sort of emotion from the audience member, as well as showcase my style of dance and the way I most enjoy expressing myself. In this film, the viewer will take a journey through 4 vignettes showcasing where I am at this moment in my life, through different makeup choices, stylized choreography, location choices, as well as music and sound choices. I hope to stand out as an artist, and I'm just really excited to premiere my own work for the very first time at Willamette through this platform.
I am this big like etymology nerd. I mean, to the point that I like spend time tracing words all the way back to the Proto-Indo-European kind of thing, depending on which one. Contrive, that one, the con part is with, you get from the Latin area. And the trive part goes all the way back to Rome and even through Greece. It took that direction. And way, way back. And that's the same, it's got the same root as trope does. And it means to turn or twist, as well as later on song. So contrive also means with song or with a twist. Kind of cool.
And
Isn't
I
that
definitely
cool?
think in my film, it's got a little bit of both those.
What locations are you using for the shoot?
So like I said, it's 4 parts. So the first part, we actually filmed in my basement at my house. And yeah, in my basement. Second part, we filmed downtown at the Marion Street Parkade up at the top floor, close to sunset. It's awesome. I'm really excited for everybody to see it. And the third part was filmed, actually my locations guy, Josh Patterson, I don't think he's on this, but he found this location in South Salem that was by some abandoned railroad tracks. And so we filmed over there.
Love that.
And then exciting fourth part, the finale, we got access to film at the Kroc Center in their leisure pool.
Are you in the swimming pool?
I am, yes.
So back to Christine's question, what's the difference between performing on stage and performing in front of a camera? Well, there's swimming pool. Are you dancing in the swimming pool? What's going on there?
I don't think any of the actual like dancing in the water. There's 2 sections. One, I'm like standing in the water and I'm manipulating my upper body. And then there's, I jumped in the pool and then got out and did the section that I choreographed on the pool deck, just soaking wet in this blue pantsuit that, you know, felt like it weighed 100 pounds soaking wet. So it's interesting. I'm excited for everyone to see it.
Hey, thanks a lot, Sam.
Yeah.
And thanks for playing with us too, especially from out and about and abroad and to come in. Is there anybody in your piece that is that is here online technically?
I believe it's just Spike.
Spike, what are you working on with Sam?
I'm art department.
So there's a new one. What is art department for us?
I believe that my role is to grab any kinds of props or costume items that the choreographer and dancers would need. But so far, Sam has brought all of her own costumes, so I haven't really done a whole lot other than show up to shoots. And it's been great to watch and learn what the whole process is like, because I know almost nothing about the world of dance. So it's a very cool new thing for me, and I've been happy to get to be witness to it.
My that's sort of like production assistant they have in the movie land, and I did that job once in Portland. My first day, I went and had keys made, and the second day I collected W-9s, and the third day the movie got canceled. So that's what happens, and that's why I'm still in theater. So yeah, it's just do what needs to happen. So I'm gonna toss the ball over to Lee Lebeda. Lee, tell us a little bit about what's going on with your piece.
Sure thing. My piece is called Who Is They? It is a piece that blends live on set footage with dancers' remote footage. I was interested in exploring the relationship between people who share a similar identity, but who experience it in very different ways. This was a piece that I have been developing for, it's been in like development for almost 2 years now, because this was part of my original pitch for my Shuck It Arts Fellowship, was to produce this piece and to have it performed at the dance concert along with my 5 dance films that I created, and which will be debuted at SSRD next week. You all should go. On Tuesday from 9 to 11. It's on Tuesday from 9 to 11:30.
Right on.
But this piece I've been developing since then, and I had originally developed it for stage. So a lot of the gestures and movements that my choreography was exploring was very tightly knit shapes that then become a lot more disparate and spread out. And what the same movement would look like on a lot of different bodies. So we have quite a bit of that in the piece. We have a lot of cannons, a lot of repetition, and a lot of people doing the same thing in different contexts. My piece is also set to a piece of music by Ukrainian folk band Daka Braka. It's a song called Baby, which only has 2, I'd say 1.5 lines in English. It's just baby, show me your loving, baby, show me your love, and the rest of it is in Ukrainian. But I chose that song because you don't need to understand the Ukrainian to know the message and receive the tone and the mood of the song. And part of what I was interested in showcasing with my piece and the way that I have designed it, both with costumes and set and lighting, is to illustrate the fact that even though all of these individuals may have slightly different versions of the same experience, they don't necessarily need to know or have experienced all the intimate details of somebody else to understand them. Yeah.
I'm digging that we have like 2 Ukrainian songs.
They're back to back on the same album.
Oh yeah.
And the songs are in the exact same key.
Well, considering what's going on out in the Ukraine right now, I mean, we can't even get to their ports. They've been blocked. I think we should change all of our pieces to Ukrainian as solidarity movement, even if it's a whole Daka Braka. So I didn't think about the fact that Ukraine's all over the headlines, and it's in our piece as well. Is there anybody that's online here that's working to support your piece?
Yes, Alyssa is my costume designer, and for a while, Caden was here, my director of photography, but it looks like he has left. But Alyssa is my lovely costume designer who has been awesome, helping me source new dancewear for all of the dancers and working with them to develop a pop of color that either is put on top of or revealed under the base costume.
So Alyssa, is this your 2nd year working in the costume shop, or your 3rd? Your 2nd year?
I have been working in the costume shop since the very beginning of my Willamette career, I guess. And this is my 2nd time designing for a dance show.
So where do you start when you're doing like a dance concert? I mean, if you're doing a show and you've got a costume design, Death of a Salesman, he's a 55-year-old man that lives in upstate New York in 1953. Yeah, pretty easy. How the heck do you figure out what Lee's dancers are going to wear for something that's more abstract?
Yeah, well, I've actually been very lucky to work with choreographers who have very clear pictures of what they would like the costumes to embody or even look like. So it's, yeah, Lee had a very clear picture of what the, how the costumes would help tell the story that they were trying to achieve and how it is woven in with that. So it was fairly simple to source those materials within the stock that we have already. And as well as the dancers provided their own pop of color as a personal item, because that was important to how Lee wanted to tell this story of sorts. So that was a kind of like a new experience for me, was trying to work with the dancers, trying to find this amazing pieces to feature in the dance, and there are some great ones. I don't want to spoil any of them for it.
Yeah, we have some really good ones.
Yeah.
Are they all dressed individually? I mean, is that a reflection of what Lee's piece is about, or is there a uniformity like you would think of with like ballet, with everybody in the same tutu?
Yeah. So the concept that Lee came up with, that I mostly just executed, was everybody starts in a nude dance where setup, I guess, is the and everybody's is unique to the so that no one dancer is the same as another, in even at the base layer. And then there, I don't think anybody has the same type of pop of color as anybody else either. So that's was important to the piece as well.
So it's a little of both. All of the like colors and textures are the same because everybody is in at least one layer of like spandex or lycra, and they're all in the same neutral skin tone, at least for my dancers. But like Alyssa said, all of the actual pieces are different.
Right on. So that world has definition then. There's edges and boundaries to keep it all in the same world. Is there anybody else that's on with us?
No, I don't believe so.
Laura says that hearing from the choreographers and the costume designer is fabulously instructional. And thank you for the behind the scenes. I'm gonna toss the ball over to Faith, who is you're doing two pieces for us, is that right?
Yeah, I'm choreographing two pieces. I'll chat about the contemporary work first, which is titled A Year Moving Through. And this work, the intention for this work is to convey the individual and collective experiences of 6 people throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And the 6 dancers in this work are Bethany Abbott, Tatiana Chetty, Taylor Hamura, Emma Homburger, Celeste Gutentag, and Tegan O'Fallon. So we have six different dancers in the work, and there's a mix of footage of dancers in their personal spaces, dancing in solo, with then dancers in a shared space as well. We looked at this work divided into seasonal sections. So we were looking at spring 2020, summer 2020, fall 2020, winter 2020, and then we thought initially there'd be a whole spring 2021 section, but then we realized we're not done with spring 2021, and we don't know how to end the story of spring 2021. So, we were, balancing, are we hopeful? How do we end this? Well, we don't know. So we don't fully go into that, the end of that section, but you'll see how it ends. There is an ending. It's just not a conclusive ending because our ending is not conclusive yet.
That's exactly how I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, for the pandemic. So this rehearsal process, I started by asking the dancers to journal about each of those 5 seasonal sections. And in each of those sections, they were journaling about what were they doing, what physical spaces were they inhabiting, so where were they, and then how did they feel. And it was really interesting. This has been the basis for the entire piece. We actually have spoken text of them saying voice memos of some of these journal entries. And this was the base for me to create all of the movement choreography. So I took the information from them and then translated it into movement. They also generated a lot of the movement themselves in their personal spaces based on these prompts and their reaction to them. And it was also really interesting for me because I found that although everyone had a very individual story, there were a lot of collective shared experiences, especially in terms of the emotional roller coaster of the pandemic time that was similar between the dancers. And the energetic arc of that followed something similar to the 7 stages of grief, which is the moving from shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then testing, acceptance, and moving on. So that was sort of the.
I saw all that jazz. I know that list.
Yeah. I had to write it down to remember it and not say it out of order. But
and for anybody that hasn't seen it, All That Jazz is still an amazing dance movie. Watch it. Just say it. Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh, no. So I'll talk a little bit about the costumes, but then I have the director of photography for this work was Solomon, and then the assistant director of photography is Sydney Davis Stanny, who's with us right now. But in terms of costuming, the dancers are themselves in this work. So we actually sourced all the costumes from their wardrobe, asking them to really think about, what did you wear in the spring? What did you wear in the summer? What did you wear in the fall? What did you wear in the winter? And then we're out in. Luckily, we had a kind of sunny day for the summer section, but they're in shorts and tank tops in Oregon morning spring, which is not that warm. So they were troopers in making it look like it was a particular season. We tried not to get the dead trees without leaves on them, but there was a lawnmower going in the summer section. So we had some of that seasonal element. But I'll let Solomon and Sydney talk more about this one.
Sydney, I'd like you to speak up because we've heard from Solomon already. You've been doing crazy locations around town. Are you working the assistant director of photography for this one?
Yes, I am. Yeah, it's been actually really, really interesting. As a first year, it's been very interesting to see a lot of Salem through this work. And it's been really interesting getting to see how other people view their personal spaces throughout these quarantine times. Specifically, when we look at like the summer section, one of the dancers is actually from Alaska. So they spent a lot of time in the forest areas. We ended up going over to a more forest area to film. So it was kind of an interesting look into how people view their own quarantine experiences. And I think throughout the piece, you can definitely tell there is a very personal feel to it because it really is telling each individual's story in a really cool way.
I'm wondering, going back to Christine's question again, when they ask about, is this experience in front of the camera, does it feel like it's more freeing than it was when it's on the stage, or are you feeling more disconnected from that? I mean, you were on, Sydney, you were on the set in different locations. How does that, did we lose? No, there's Sydney still here. How does that relate to working on stage then? I mean, is there a question of, is it being freeing, or is it being, do you feel disconnected because it's not a large group, even though you are outside? What's that all about?
Yeah, I mean, I think it honestly opens up a lot of new opportunities that you might not get with stage. I think when you're working with a camera, you can see all different kinds of angles. You know, you can view them from behind, you can view them from the side, you can do cool spinning shots or shots from the ceiling that we have in one of our sections. And I think with those different kinds of perspectives in the shot, you get a really interesting view into the surroundings itself. And I think that's something that sometimes you don't necessarily get with stage. And while it is nice at times, definitely with stage, to have a lot of people on, I think here we have a lot of new opportunities and a lot of, more space to experiment with things that I think has been really helpful and really freeing.
Right on. Solomon, Sydney mentioned spinning shots. I'm going to pop over to Faith with the ballet stuff, and while she's talking, do you want to show us a little bit about your spinning shots that you took from her ballet piece? If you want to load that up in the background and let Faith talk about the ballet piece that you're working with.
Sure. Is that okay with you, Faith?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Speak from the diaphragm.
Oh, right. I have to be a little louder.
That's me.
So you're about to see some behind the scenes footage from Bloom, which is the ballet piece that I choreographed for this show. It includes 5 dancers: Taylor Hamura, Ellen Turner, Kelly Dyer, Bethany Abbott, and Celeste Gutentag. And the intention of this work is to blossom into new form and find interconnectedness. So we were looking at themes of spring, rebirth, color, color, vibrancy, emergence, rejuvenation, optimism. We wanted a look of rich colors. Here we are in the park with a pile of logs behind us, but we're really focusing on the colors going on for it. And thinking about this dance in a natural setting, I was inspired by the Vivaldi Four Seasons music. This is actually music that is Vivaldi Four Seasons recomposed by Max Richter, a few different tracks from that. And we chatted a lot about ideas of the micro element of this and then the macro. And in terms of film, you know, finding the little details of the site, which is this natural setting in Bush Park, but then also finding a bird's eye perspective using a drone. We were fortunate to have Jeff Hart, a Salem community member, who generously contributed his time and drone. He filmed part of this ballet with a drone. So we have some footage from a bird's eye perspective, and we also have some footage from an insect perspective. So we're sort of ranging micro to macro. In terms of costuming, I'll actually wait because Brooke is on this in this session, and Brooke was in the art department. Bobby Brewer-Wallen was the costume designer, and Brooke also helped us with costumes. And originally we were thinking about dancers as similar in their look, but having a unique aspect. And you can see that they're all in flowing skirts, but they each have their own color. Another element we were thinking about is the costume opening up throughout the dance and finding a new form throughout this piece.
So Brooke, is it correct that you worked costumes on this or art department?
I did a little bit of both. I did a lot more kind of assistance with transporting different things, whether that was costumes or more art department. And it kind of is dependent on like the section that we did. Like I did a little more help with costumes for the like fall and winter section than I did for in the contemporary piece than I did with the ballet piece. But I can speak to that if you would like to.
Yeah, right on. Speak away.
In regards to the ballet piece or the contemporary piece?
Well, tell us more about the contemporary piece. We got to see what the ballet piece looks like. What's going on with the contemporary piece?
Yeah, so as Faith kind of spoke a little bit about, having the dancers have different elements of their own wardrobe in the different sections kind of allowed for a lot of individuality of each dancer to kind of be expressed in each section. Particularly, something that I helped with was when we did the winter section. Kind of helped coordinate to make sure that the kind of color scheme of the dancers' outfits fit with the kind of overall theme of that section. So I did a little bit of tweaking of like a green sweater versus a more like tan sweater and how that would kind of reflect the mood of the piece.
I really like the different colors and that the pastels and the piece that we just watched, by the way. It's also nice to see ballet that isn't in tutus all the time as well. So and just so you all know how deep, how new this is that we're watching it, what we just saw was a camera that was taking a picture of someone with a camera phone and a phone in her other hand that was taking a picture of a person with a camera that was taking a picture of some dancers. There were like 3 levels of camera going on there, which is pretty amazing. I'd love to know that there was somebody behind all of those people taking a picture of the cameraman that was cameraing at that moment. I also thought it was amazing to talk about like being ready to go on stage at any moment. I mean, you have people standing there that are not in the shot and we can see what's going on backstage. in that way, ready for the second for the camera to hit them where they have been dancing the whole time, but they really haven't. So that's a pretty cool behind the scenes thing going on there. We have just about 5 minutes left. If there's any questions that people out there in guest land have, go ahead and get us. Here we go. How will the public get to see the finished work at some point? Oh, you answered the question that I was supposed to put in at the very beginning, which is, maybe I will just change my name here, which is how to, I'm going to type in the, well, that's actually even better than that. I'm gonna send you to our website, which is the easiest thing to remember. That's wootheater.com. If you hit wootheater.com, you'll see a place for tickets. You'll also see our email address, which is theatretix@willamette.edu. It's hard to describe, THTR-TIX@willamette.edu. No one's going to remember that, but Woo Theater with an RE is pretty easy to remember. So if you hit Woo Theater with an RE.com, then you can find out about ordering tickets from that. That will bring you to the purchase page as well. It'll also tell you about Cradle Will Rock, which is a play with music or musical that opens the day before on the 29th of April. Ryan, who was here earlier, is one of the leads in that, as well as a dancer in this show, doing double duty for us. Once again, the show opens on the 30th of April and runs through May 9th. If you really want to keep in touch when you go to the wootheater.com, send us an email and just say, hey, put me on your mailing list. And that way I will keep hitting you up for the possibility to purchase tickets. And it looks like Christine, who gave us her first question, is going to give us her last one. Who's doing all the technical work to bring all the digital works together and for streaming? Is that a new role for an existing staff member or students doing aspects of this themselves? Punt that one to Solomon.
We are working it out, but basically we're just going to edit the films all together and make it one film. So it's actually a pretty straightforward process.
Are each of the different
knock on wood
is each piece being edited differently?
Oh yeah, so each piece has its own editors that's usually rolled into the director of photography role in collaboration with the rest of the team. And then they're getting feedback. So we got the first drafts on Monday and they're working on their second drafts. And then once all the pieces are finished individually, we'll string them together for the showing.
So it sounds like there's like 5 or 6. I mean, Michelle Einsa wasn't here, and Michelle has a solo piece that that she's been working with, which is shot at the coast and the lake and the dunes and all kinds of places, which are amazing outdoor things. But it's sounding like you're actually working with 5 or 6 different short film teams that are going to be linked together then, as
That's
opposed to one person having to film all of it.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and to your question, Christine, is it a new? Yes, every one of us is doing a new role right now. I don't think anybody is doing something that, I mean, even Alyssa, who's costume designed before, this is a different kind of cost. Maybe Faith is the one that's led us, because you've had a history with Screen Dance. You know what this beast is about, but doesn't sound like this beast is ever the same twice, though. Screen Dance.
Always a new adventure, and this has been a new adventure as well. So it's been actually really lovely, because as Solomon mentioned in the beginning, I feel that we've been able to collaborate in a very different way throughout this process and really bring all these different areas of art together around intention. So for me, it's been a very fruitful process, and I've been learning a lot throughout it as well.
Caught me as I was trying to answer Laura A here. I would have said something much better, Laura, but I didn't have didn't have the wherewithal quite yet. Yeah, I think everyone's going to really enjoy. I put the trailer together, so I've only seen bits and pieces. I feel like I've been given this this like one piece of candy, and there's this whole other bag of Halloween candy that I'm not allowed to eat yet. And I'm supposed to, and I'm really anxious to find out what else is in there besides just the almond joy. So that's going to wrap us up today. I want to thank everybody again. wootheater.com is the place that you can find out all the information. Keep in contact and see what these amazing people look like in a totally different medium. Everybody wave and kiss and things like that, like we're on the dating show. Mwah. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Adios.